Picture a young shepherd boy David under the relentless Middle Eastern sun, tending to his flock. A name that would echo through the ages, synonymous with courage, leadership, and faith. But before he became a legend, David was just a humble shepherd boy, the youngest of 8 sons. His father, Jesse, a Bethlehemite, could hardly have predicted the extraordinary path his youngest son was about to embark upon. David's days were spent under the vast azure sky, tending to his flock. The life of a shepherd was not an easy one. It demanded vigilance, strength, and a certain degree of solitude. But it was in these peaceful, solitary moments that David found his connection with God, a bond that would guide him throughout his life. His humble beginnings belied the immense destiny that awaited him. David, the shepherd boy, was chosen by God to become David, the king of Israel. But how did this come to be? Enter prophet Samuel, a pivotal figure in David's life. Samuel was led by God to the house of Jesse. Among the sons of Jesse, Samuel was to anoint the one chosen by God. The prophet looked at the eldest, then the second, and so on, but God did not choose any of them. It was David, the young shepherd, who was chosen. Samuel took a horn of oil and anointed David in the presence of his brothers. This anointment was not just a ceremonial act. It was a divine prophecy, a foreshadowing of the shepherd boy's future as king. David's story is not just a tale of a boy who would become king. It's a testament to the unpredictability of life, a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary journeys begin in the most ordinary places. And as David looked after his sheep under the hot sun, he had no idea that he was destined for so much more. Little did David know his life was about to take a turn from the pastures to the palace. Fate would soon thrust David into an intense battlefield, not as a soldier but as a champion. This was a stage far removed from the pastoral tranquility of his shepherd's life. His opponent? None other than the intimidating giant Goliath, a Philistine warrior of immense strength and height. This was a classic case of David versus Goliath, quite literally. David, a young shepherd boy, pitted against Goliath, a seasoned warrior. The odds were stacked against him, but David was not deterred. His weapon of choice was not a sword or a spear, but a simple sling and a stone. The battlefield was tense, the air thick with anticipation. The spectators watched as David, seemingly overmatched, stepped forward. His faith, however, was his real armor. David was not just fighting for his people. He was fighting with the conviction that the God of Israel was with him. His faith was resolute, his courage unwavering. He faced Goliath, not with fear, but with a calm determination that was almost unsettling. He pulled out a stone from his bag, placed it in his sling, took aim, and let it fly. The stone, guided by more than just the hand that flung it, found its mark, striking Goliath and bringing him down. The battlefield erupted in disbelief and then in joy. The seemingly invincible giant had fallen, defeated by a shepherd boy. This was not just a victory for David, it was a victory for all of Israel. It was a testament to the power of faith and courage over physical might. David's victory over Goliath was an inspiration, a beacon of hope. It was a story of the underdog emerging victorious, a tale of faith triumphing over fear. It was a demonstration of God's power working through an unlikely hero to deliver his people. And so a shepherd boy became a hero, his name echoing through the valleys and hills of Israel. David's story is more than just a tale from the past. It is a timeless lesson in courage, faith, and the power of God. From hero to fugitive, David's journey was anything but easy. Once a shepherd, then a giant slayer, David found himself in the crosshairs of a king's jealousy. King Saul, who once saw David as a cherished musician and warrior, began to perceive him as a threat to his throne. The king's envy grew so intense that he attempted to kill David not once but on multiple occasions. Saul's animosity towards David was a stark contrast to their earlier relationship. David was initially welcomed into Saul's court after defeating the Philistine giant Goliath. His victory not only saved Israel but also earned him a place of honor in the royal household. Yet as David's popularity grew, so did Saul's resentment. Saul's jealousy was fueled by the Israelites' praise of David. They sang songs of his victories, claiming David had slain tens of thousands while Saul only thousands. As David's fame surpassed Saul's, the king's paranoia escalated. He saw David as a rival for his throne, and his fear transformed into a murderous rage. Saul's attempts to kill David forced the young hero into a life of a fugitive. David had to flee his home, his wife, and his position in the court. He found himself wandering in the wilderness, hiding in caves and relying on the kindness of strangers. Yet even in his darkest hours, David refused to retaliate against Saul. He had multiple opportunities to kill Saul, but he chose mercy over vengeance, demonstrating his deep respect for the king's divine appointment. In the wilderness and caves, David found solace in his faith. He turned his fears and anxieties into prayers, composing beautiful psalms that still resonate today. His time as a fugitive, though fraught with peril, was also a period of spiritual growth. From the depths of despair, David's voice rang out in songs of faith, hope, and trust in God's providence. In the wilderness and caves, David found solace in his faith, composing beautiful psalms that still resonate today. The time had come for the shepherd boy to ascend to his promised destiny. In the aftermath of King Saul's death, a power void emerged in the kingdom of Israel. David, the shepherd-turned-warrior, found himself at the epicenter of this political whirlwind. David's ascension to the throne was not an overnight affair. It was a journey shaped by courage, faith, and an unwavering belief in his divine calling. Initially, he was anointed as the king of Judah, the southern region of Israel, but his influence and reputation soon spread across the land, reaching the northern tribes. In the face of adversity, David displayed remarkable leadership qualities. He was not just a king, but a leader who empathized with his people, shared their struggles, and celebrated their victories. He was a commander who led his troops from the front, and a ruler who administered justice with fairness and wisdom. But David's crowning achievement was the unification of the 12 tribes of Israel. For years, these tribes had functioned as separate entities, each with its own leaders and agendas. David, however, envisioned a united Israel, a single nation under God. With strategic alliances and diplomatic negotiations, he brought these diverse tribes together, fostering a sense of unity and common purpose. This unification wasn't merely a political maneuver, it was a fulfillment of a divine promise, a testament to David's faith in God's plan. Now, the shepherd boy who had once tended his father's flock in the fields of Bethlehem was the shepherd of a nation, guiding and leading his people towards a shared destiny. And so, after years of trials and tribulations, David finally ascended to his promised destiny. The throne of Israel was his, a throne not built on wealth or military might, but on faith, courage, and a commitment to his people. David, once a lowly shepherd, now sat on the throne as the king of a united Israel. His journey from the pastures to the palace is a testament to the power of faith and the transformative potential of leadership. Even the greatest of kings have their moments of weakness. This statement rings true in the life of King David, whose reign was marked by moments of strength and courage, but also by instances of profound fallibility. It is in the tale of his interactions with Bathsheba and Uriah that we see David's darkest hour. David, who was a man after God's own heart, fell into temptation. He had an affair with Bathsheba, a woman of incomparable beauty who was married to Uriah, one of David's loyal warriors. This act was not just a momentary lapse in judgment, but a deliberate choice that led to a series of tragic events. In an attempt to cover up his indiscretion, David ordered Uriah to the front lines of a brutal battle, fully aware that this would likely result in Uriah's death. Uriah, faithful till the end, met his demise, and David's secret sin became a public disgrace. The consequences of David's actions were severe. The child born out of his affair with Bathsheba passed away, a punishment from God for David's sin. Furthermore, his household was thrown into chaos with his own sons turning against him. But David's story doesn't end with his downfall. Amid the ruin, David turned to God in deep repentance. His heartfelt remorse is beautifully captured in the Psalms, a collection of poems and songs that he authored. His pleas for mercy and forgiveness resonate with a sincerity that is both touching and instructive. David's story serves as a stark reminder that even the most powerful are not immune to temptation. It underscores the importance of accountability and the devastating consequences that can follow when we stray from the path of righteousness. But above all, it demonstrates the power of genuine repentance and God's boundless mercy. David, in his downfall, teaches us that it is never too late to seek forgiveness, to turn back to the path of righteousness, and to restore our relationship with God. In his darkest hour, David sought forgiveness, his psalms echoing his deep remorse. David's reign, though marred by his sins, left a lasting legacy. This shepherd turned king, despite his human frailties, carved out an enduring place in history. But what exactly was this legacy? Let's delve into it. First, David was a prolific builder and a successful military leader. He expanded the borders of his kingdom, bringing under his rule vast swathes of land, from the Red Sea to the Euphrates River. This expansion not only increased his realm's wealth and power, but also laid the groundwork for a united Israel, a dream that was realized under his rule. Yet David's vision extended beyond the battlefield and into the spiritual realm. He dreamt of a grand temple, a house for God that would symbolize the unity of his people under one God. Although David himself did not build the temple, he made extensive preparations for its construction, collecting materials and drawing up plans. This dream was later fulfilled by his son Solomon, who built the magnificent temple in Jerusalem, a symbol of Israel's unity and devotion to God. David's legacy, however, wasn't confined to his lifetime or even to his kingdom. His influence echoed through the ages, reaching far beyond the borders of ancient Israel. As Christians believe, David's lineage gave birth to a figure that would change the course of history, Jesus Christ. The New Testament repeatedly refers to Jesus as the Son of David, underscoring David's significance in the larger narrative of salvation. David's life, a tapestry of triumphs and failings, is a testament to the human capacity for greatness and the equal propensity for error. Despite his mistakes, David's heart for God, his military victories, and his role in the lineage of Jesus Christ have cemented his place in history. His legacy continues to inspire and instruct, reminding us that even in our imperfections, we can make a lasting impact. David, the shepherd boy turned king, left an indelible mark on the pages of history. His story is a testament that our past does not define our future, and even the humblest among us can leave a legacy that resonates through the ages. David's life, filled with triumphs and failures, offers us timeless lessons. Let's delve into some of these lessons, starting with the importance of faith. As a young shepherd boy, David demonstrated unshakable faith when he faced the giant Goliath. He had no armor, no sword, just a sling and a stone. But above all, he had faith in God's power to deliver him from his enemies. This faith was the cornerstone of his life, guiding him through every trial and tribulation. Next, we encounter courage. David's courage went beyond the battlefield. It was a courage rooted in his trust in God. Whether it was standing up to Goliath, fleeing from King Saul, or facing his own personal failures, David's courage was a testament to his unwavering belief in God's promises. Then there's repentance. David wasn't a perfect man. He made mistakes, some of them quite grave. But when confronted with his sins, David didn't shy away. He repented sincerely, humbly accepting his failures and seeking God's forgiveness. His psalms are filled with heartfelt pleas for mercy, showing us the power of true repentance. And finally, we see the overwhelming grace of God in David's life. Despite his sins, his failures, God never abandoned him. Instead, he showed David mercy, blessing him in numerous ways, even promising that his lineage would last forever. This grace wasn't earned, it was freely given, a testament to God's boundless love and mercy. So what do these lessons mean for us? They remind us that faith, courage, and repentance are vital in our lives. They show us that God's grace is available to everyone, even those who stumble and fall. They encourage us to trust in God, to seek His forgiveness when we err, and to accept His grace with humble hearts. David's story is a testament to the grace of God, a reminder that He uses imperfect people for His perfect plans. As we reflect on David's story, we find echoes of our own journeys. David, a humble shepherd boy, rose to become a king, an embodiment of courage, faith, and resilience, qualities that resonate with us all. Remember how David, armed only with a sling and a stone, stood before Goliath, the towering giant. This was not just a battle of strength, but a testament to faith and courage in the face of adversity. How many times have we faced our own Goliaths, daunting challenges that seemed insurmountable? Yet, like David, we find that with resolve and faith, we can overcome. Consider David's flight from King Saul. Through his trials as a fugitive, David displayed resilience and integrity, never retaliating against the king who sought his life. In our own lives, we too face times of hardship and adversity. David's story inspires us to persevere, maintaining our integrity, even when the road is hard and the journey long. Reflect on David's ascension to the throne and his subsequent downfall. His journey reminds us that power and position do not safeguard us from human frailty. We must be vigilant, constantly checking our hearts, ensuring we do not allow pride, greed, or lust to lead us astray. David's legacy is not just a tale of a king, but a lesson of faith, courage, resilience, and repentance. In his story, we see a man who, despite his failings, sought after God's own heart. He was not perfect, but his heart was inclined towards God, a reminder that our own imperfections do not disqualify us from God's love and grace. In the story of David, we find a mirror to our own lives, a reminder of God's grace and our potential for greatness, regardless of our beginnings. As we close this chapter, let's carry the lessons of David's life with us, using them as a compass to navigate our own journeys, knowing that, like David, we too can overcome, rise, fall, and rise again.